All right, here you go. I'm going to show you this here. Now, here's a lid that covers it for when you're not using it. That's really pretty important because you know what, if you have cats like us, you're going to end up with a bunch of cat hair in it if you don't have a lid, or you're just going to end up with a cat in it. So here we go. This is the unit. Now, I was able to fill this, and I didn't fill it all the way for this, but they want you to fill it between the lower and the upper line. I marked the upper line with nail polish because that's actually just makes it easier for me to see. So you want to set the water in between, and I found that about 3 gallons is good. Any more it just gets too splashy. So I love this thing. I absolutely love this thing. I put my Epsom salt in it, my doTERRA oils, and I absolutely adore it. My husband does not adore it. He thinks these are too hard. I don't think so. I think these, especially these here, they are hard-ish, but they're not, they almost have like a little bit of a faint rubberiness to them. But overall, if you're bothered by the harder edges, and most of these have that because honestly, let's face it, when you're cleaning it, the things that are real rubbery, you're going to have a little bit of trouble with. But you may not like that, but I love it. He doesn't, but that's okay. It's mine, all mine. So this is basically the features. When you turn it on, it's going to default to a temperature setting, and it's going to heat up to that point. What it does here is it's telling you where it's at right now. It's in Celsius. As far as the max temperature, they actually tell you not to keep it at the max, to keep it just under that for the sake of the heating element. I like it at 40, and that's well below, so everybody's different. I will say, though, when you have this covered, like I tried to leave it like this to hold the heat for my husband, I did notice when I took it off, he said it was pretty hot, and I think it's because I had it covered. So, you know, just keep track of the water. Don't just assume because the digital display says something that it's exactly reading that. So I, was like, you're crazy. And then I put my foot in and thought, oh yeah, he's right. It is a little hot. So, but once I was in it, it kind of like reacclimated. So I think it was just because I had it covered for a while like that while it was heating up. So pretty much features are super easy. Temperature, if you want to raise or lower the temperature, I like it around 40. That puts it at 42. So it'll flash that, then it'll go back and tell you what temperature it's actually at. This is super easy. This is for the red light. Hit another time, it does the bubbles. Cool. Hit it a third time and you get both. 4 times and it turns it off. Now the massagers. There's 3 settings with the massagers. There's one that's sort of like a constant. There's one that's an intermittent one. And then there's a sort of faster intermittent one. Like that. So it's really a cool machine. I really like it. And basically, the little pumice, that does move, but it's not a real rough pumice. I don't think you're going to be bothered by it. Maybe somebody who's super tender-footed might find these a little bit hard. This is really a deep massage, and they are nubby, and like hard plastic nubby, so I love that. That's the part my husband thought was just a little too much. When you fill it, this was about 3 gallons. I found that to be perfect. I was able to fill this easily in my bathtub, but it is heavy, and obviously with like 3 gallons of water, it's heavier. So for some people, that may be harder to do. Now what they could do is actually use separate gallons, I suppose, and just pour it in that way. But I think really anyone who's a lot older, they're probably not going to be handling it themselves. It'll probably be something you'll help them with. So I think it really depends on the person. As far as emptying it, if you need a little help emptying it, I found that we have a really big like coffee mug, and I was able to scoop some of the water out and do it that way. Although for myself, the 3 gallons of water was fine. I didn't have any trouble with that. So some people that shouldn't use this are people with like exercise limitations, I guess because of the movement, certain heart patients. I think really if you have any major health condition, just ask your doctor. I will say for diabetics, it's really good to ask someone else in the household to test the water because they can't always feel properly, so they may not actually know if it's as hot as it really is. And They suggest you don't use it more than an hour. I think you wouldn't anyway, although I have to say it was pretty relaxing. But you're going to shrivel it in an hour, so, you know, set the timer for something a little bit less. And just, you know, keep an eye on it. But I like it. It's a really solid unit. It feels like it's worth the money. I don't feel like it's those cheap little things that we used to slide our feet in years ago. The heat's great. It maintains the heat well. Like I said, I could work it with the oils and the Epsom salt, which is fantastic. I obviously rinse that very carefully afterwards because I don't want any salt residue. And I found that to be really easy. I'm just very careful not to get any water here, so I don't put the faucet on high. Just use the bathtub faucet, lower, rinse it around, and then I just wipe it out with alcohol, or even you can just spray it with alcohol and go, just to sort of disinfect it a little bit. But it's not commercial use, it's private use, so yeah, very happy with it. One of my most favorite things. Nice deep tub. One other thing that probably is not as much of a problem for me, but for my husband, it sits kind of high. So what I did is I actually took the wheels off so it sits a little bit lower, and then I sit on a cushion on the couch, and that kind of puts me at a better height. But you do have to sit upright in it. You can't be at an angle because this is like a deep tub. So you're going to want to make sure that whatever you're sitting on is higher and that you can fit in it properly. He kind of wanted to slouch on the couch, and you can't slouch and hit it at an angle. You got to be more in it. So very happy, good quality, I'm loving it.